Hey, it's me, my name is Eloise, and I'm a part-time indie author of some fantasies. My authoring adventure is an odyssey, so come along and join me on this journey.
Hi out there, it's me, Eloise. I'm a part-time indie author of historical fantasy, and today's video is the Writer's Not Writing tag. Unlike what I originally thought this tag was about, which was calling me out for not writing, it's more of 10 questions to get to know writers as people as opposed to the work that they produce. I was tagged by my friend Tracy Mayhew, and it's a Friday afternoon and I wanted to do something fun, so let's dive in. Question number 1. Do you have a day job? Yes, I do. I am an accountant. What I do is provide accounting and bookkeeping services to over a dozen clients that range from sole proprietors to C Corps. I've been in my current position for 4 years now and I like it a lot. I love the team that I work with, and I work exclusively from home, so that really helps with the flexibility of being a mom and writing. Question number 2. Are you a reader? Yes, though I don't read as much as I wish I would. Like I mentioned in the last question, I do work full-time. I also have a son, I have a house, I'm trying to write and prioritize that as well. So between all of those things, I just don't have a whole lot of time left on my hands. There's a couple other reasons why I don't read quite as much as I'd like to. One of them is because I'm a writer. Now I know writers are supposed to read and that's how we improve our craft and all of that, and I completely agree. However, because I'm familiar with story structure, I find a lot of books to be predictable and therefore am pretty picky when it comes to books that I can actually get into. It's also a double-edged sword that I'm a writer, because when I do find books that I like, that I'm really interested in, sometimes I have to DNF them because they are too pretty. I end up spending more time trying to keep myself from getting imposter syndrome and stop myself from comparing myself and my writing to these amazing books than just reading and enjoying the book. It's a really tricky tightrope that I walk when it comes to reading books, but I am making more time this year to actually read. Question number 3. What are your other hobbies? So I mentioned in the last answer that I like reading, but I don't have a lot of time because of all of the things and my other hobbies. I enjoy gardening and yard work. On a nice sunny day, I'll actually go out and weed. I find it to be very meditative. I also enjoy baking, which I do a lot of in the winter time. I've got a sourdough starter, so I've been really into doing those kinds of recipes. So put your favorite sourdough recipes in the comments down below. I mainly enjoy baking because I enjoy eating. I also enjoy exploring the beautiful Pacific Northwest mountains with my family and just hanging out outdoors when I can. Even in the rain, I'll go outside and just enjoy nature. Another hobby that I do in the wintertime is sewing. I like making quilts, though at this point I've resorted to only making baby quilts because anything bigger than that takes way too long and I'm too impatient to get it done. On the topic of doing things myself, I also very much enjoy DIY projects such as building furniture or interior design or renovating my entire yard. Question number 4. Tea or coffee? Coffee, hands down. I am within an hour of the original Starbucks. That being said, I don't like Starbucks. I will go to a little coffee stand, a little shack to get my lattes. I drink mainly drip coffee from home because I'm cheap and try to save some money, but when I do go out and get myself a coffee, on a cold day my favorite is a dark chocolate orange mocha, and on a warm day is an iced chocolate macadamia nut because it makes me feel like I'm in Hawaii. I really wish I could like tea. There's like a mental block there probably that occurred back in 1776 or something that just makes it so I can't get into tea. The most tea I drank was when I was pregnant. I drank red raspberry leaf tea. If you know, you know. Other than that, I really could not care less about tea. Question number 5. What are you passionate about? Other than the obvious answers of my son and my family, some of my less serious passions are Greek mythology, which I've had a hyperfixation on since about 6th grade. I'm also very much interested in tarot and I guess metaphysical kind of spirituality. I could talk about that kind of thing for hours. On a more serious note, my passions include speaking up against hypocrisy, advocating for children, and women's reproductive rights. Number 6, do I have any pets? Yes, I have 2 miniature Australian Shepherds, though technically I think the AKC calls them mini American Shepherds. They're definitely Australian based off of their attitudes. Harley and Dawson are litter mates. They are 11 years old, and for their entire lives, they have shared a single brain cell. Harley is something of a cat in a dog's body because he just doesn't really care what you think about him, and he loves being outside and yelling at people. Dawson is very much a dog. He's obsessed with the ball, wants to be around you all of the time, and really cares about whether you use a happy tone or a not so happy tone with him. They are double the trouble, double the fun. Question number 7. What was your dream job as a child? So I'm going to give you 3 different jobs at 3 different stages of my childhood. So when I was about 5 or 6 in kindergarten, I really wanted to work for the post office because I had this vision of me walking through the quaint little neighborhoods like in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and handing mail to smiling people and just making them really happy because I was always excited to get mail when I was a kid. As I got older, I realized that that was not the case and a lot of people were not going to be happy to see me. In middle school, I very much wanted to be a pilot. My mom was encouraging and had a friend who was a private pilot and just with like a little Cessna and coordinated with him to take me up in the plane to do like a little test flight. And throughout the whole flight, I was very annoyed because he kept telling me to look at the instruments and to stop looking outside of the plane. So by the end of that flight, I realized I didn't actually want to be a pilot, I just wanted to look out the window. Then in high school, interestingly enough, I very much wanted to be an editor at a publishing house. By then, I had a passion for writing and grammar and English in general. I would charge my classmates $25 each to edit their papers and guaranteed a full letter grade improvement if they used my services. I made quite a bit of money that way. But in my junior year, we had to put together this whole project where we really researched the job, and as I dug into it, I realized that it was highly competitive, there wasn't a lot of upward mobility, and I would have to live in a big city like New York or San Francisco, so I decided to pivot. Part of me wishes I had a time machine so I could go back and tell high school Eloise that self-publishing was a thing. Ah well, accounting's fine. Question number 8. If you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be and why? This is a pretty hard one because I am torn between 2 pretty different kind of locations. The first is somewhere in Southern Europe, somewhere around the Mediterranean with that warmer climate, with that European culture and history that I could go check out museums or archaeological sites. Alternatively, someplace like Hawaii, a tropical island with lots of plants, lots of greenery, and just that ocean breeze that I can breathe deeply and just kind of connect with nature. Whichever location I would end up at, it wouldn't be in a big metropolitan area. It would be further away from people because people just drive me bonkers. Question number 9. Do you speak any foreign languages? No, which is Spanish for no. I did take 3 or 4 years of Spanish throughout my education, starting in middle school and going all the way up through community college, but I could not have a conversation in Spanish to save my life. I could definitely understand people if they spoke a certain speed. I've always been very self-conscious about the way I pronounce words and my accent. I've never put in the effort to try and become more fluent with speaking Spanish. I can order margaritas at a restaurant or ask for some directions to the library. I would call that far from fluent. Question number 10. What music would we find in your collection? Let's start with the obvious. There would be Disney songs and show tunes. I'm not a Disney adult, but growing up in the 90s, I have basically everything memorized. I will put on a one-woman show of any Disney song anytime. In addition to those kinds of songs, you'll find 60s and 70s rock, especially Fleetwood Mac or Motown, thanks to my mom and dad. That was always kind of playing on the radio and at home when I was growing up. In my teenage and early college years, Maroon 5 was what I was obsessed with, so I basically know the whole first 5 albums for that band. Something that might come as a bit of a surprise to some people is I listen to a lot of techno, such as Sickic, Mateo Tura, and Apache. I've gotten into that in the last 5 years because my son really loves it. He just loves a good beat. And something that surprises people most often, because I don't look the part, is heavy metal. I like Rammstein, In This Moment, some Korn, some Disturbed, some Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, those kinds of things, all that classic stuff. And that's all thanks to my partner who played those songs so much that I was conditioned to like them. Is that something like Stockholm Syndrome but with music? I don't know. Let me know down below. Some of the types of musics you'll never find in my playbook are screamo music. You know the difference between heavy metal and screamo music. Ugh, just hurts my ears. Grunge and mainstream country. Well, that was quick. Were any of my answers surprising to you? Let me know in the comments down below. I had a lot of fun with this tag, and now I think it's time for me to tag other people, right? I think that's how that works. And I'm going to be really lame because I don't know who's already all been tagged. If you want to do this tag your it. If you want to see other author tubers not writing tag videos, check out the playlist in the link in the caption down below. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. You're one of my favorite people. Until next time, take care. Bye.
Do you like writing?
Yes, I like writing.
Do you like mythology?
Yes, I like mythology.
Do you like my videos?
Yes, I like your videos.
Then what are you waiting for? Subscribe.